Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today. The topic for tonight is AI in DevOps from faster builds to safe releases. Most teams today are hearing about AI everywhere, but when it comes to DevOps, there is still confusion. Where does AI really fit? What problems does it actually solve? And what's useful right now, not 5 years from now? That's what this session is focused on. Before we get started, quick check in. Type one word in the chat. Where do you think AI can help most in your DevOps work? Do you think it's code, testing, deployments, monitoring, or security? There are no right or wrong answers, so anyone can type their responses. For those who are joining us for the first time, a quick intro to our company, Knowlathon. Knowlathon is a global training provider helping professional upskill through internationally recognized certifications like PMP, Prince2, ITIL, Agile, ISO, DevOps, Cloud and Cybersecurity. Our focus is simple, helping professionals stay relevant as technology, roles, and expectations keep changing. We regularly host sessions like this to break down complex topics into practical, usable insights. Now, coming to today's speaker, it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Hirinder, who brings 27 plus years of experience in IT. Her background covers IT service management, ITIL, SIAM, governance, quality, audits, program and project management, and large scale transformations. Today, she will walk us through how AI changing DevOps pipelines from development to deployment to security. So, without any further delay, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Akshay, for the introduction of Knowlathon and for my introduction both. Very heartfelt, warm welcome to everybody who's joining in at this hour. I hope the session is going to bring the required inputs for your journey in DevOps and AI. The screen is displayed on DevOps, and the presentation is made keeping in mind how DevOps is going to help or how it's going to work in today's times where any framework, whether it is ITIL, whether it's any part of ITSM, whether it is DevOps, DevSecOps, cannot function without AI. And how has DevOps now advanced itself in terms of becoming more smarter, more intelligent, and it works hand in hand with all kinds of AI tools and AI products and platforms to make all kinds of software development, providing infrastructure as a code, providing any kind of SaaS platforms in a more secure way. DevOps itself has no longer stayed as DevOps alone. It has now advanced to also DevSecOps. Hope the next few slides that you will see and the next 15-20 minutes or so will be helpful in understanding how all of this ties in together. It's a pretty layman kind of a discussion. We are not going to go technical. So like I was saying, the webinar is going to focus on what DevOps actually does and how it works with AI without the hype, without technical buzzwords, acronyms, etc., and making it more realistic in terms of how AI uses its own intelligence to make DevOps a better framework and allows all kinds of DevOps tools, products, platforms to work in a more resilient, in a more cohesive manner, and how DevOps is no longer a standalone way of working. It is now working with other things as well. So let's see what it means for us. AI itself is not a standalone platform. AI is a tool, it's a method, it's a technique, it's multiple things that work together. The intent of that is to make everything more secure, productive, effective, efficient, etc. So, how will AI help or how will AI enable release management or deployment management or coding or programming, along with all the infrastructure that it uses with it? So, there are certain points listed down here, of course, but if you look at the diagram that is presented, very simply put, AI in DevOps is meant to benefit business. It is meant to develop end-to-end cohesiveness and relationship between all aspects of code development, programming, infrastructure, everything tied in together. Some of the things that it helps with is a very high quality of code. When we say high quality of code, without errors, speeded up codes without errors also means compatibility, integration, quality, no syncing errors, no security errors, so on and so forth. It will also help in cost reduction because you save time. When you're using AI along with DevOps, it helps you to shorten or to reduce your experimentation, code checking, error checking timelines and cycles. So if you develop code, you put it into testing. Even with your regular DevOps tools, it may take a couple of days. And then at the end of it, you will realize there are so many errors. What happens with AI is it's going to predict and it's going to give you advanced patterns of whether the code is moving in the right direction or not. So even before you hit the testing stage, it will give you a list of things that are going right or wrong. So it saves time. Any time saved is equal to money. It also helps us to reduce the manual intervention, if at all. In many organizations, DevOps is still not completely automated. So they work on hybrid modes of using certain number of tools, some automated platforms, and still there is a lot of manual testing that happens. Even if testing is automated, the corrections in the codes are more or less manual. So with AI, all of those cycles are reduced. It will predict failure. It will give you all errors upfront. It will give you patterns of things that can go wrong once the code is released, or even code that will go wrong in testing. It overall helps to predict incidents. It helps us to predict any kind of downtime or unavailability of systems that can happen later. It uses self-healing for all kinds of CI/CD pipelines. And when we say self-healing, all AI tools have to be configured with their appropriate codes and thresholds to enable that. But a lot of self-healing can be enabled with AI, which makes all types of software codes and programs into a more self-correction ways of working. So any code commit that happens in DevOps will already be risk assured, will already be more secure and more productive, prevents many, many hours of rework, and that effort can be utilized in other pipelines or to work on other things as required. Some of the practical used cases of AI. So if you look at the four specific use cases mentioned here, one is managing all the toll gates or quality gates in software development. So quality gates are on multiple ways. One is bug fixing or figuring out what bugs and errors are there and to fix that. Security flaws. What kind of vulnerabilities exist? How can this code be, have data leaks or data hacks or will not really follow the security policies or guidelines as per the organization requirement, and it fixes that. Code smells are basically codes that are not properly syncing or are susceptible to vulnerabilities or incidents later. So it runs into pages of errors, which can be fixed beforehand. All kinds of performance risks related to availability, related to uptimes, SLAs, etc. All of those quality gates are automated. Not just automated, but predictive, which means it learns from its previous quality toll gates. If a similar code, if a similar program has been released before, it will use patterns from those codes and learn. And it learns from its previous defects and applies it to all the future codes. Reviews are faster, it learns faster, it follows all possible standards that it has been guided to follow. There are very few production defects, lesser downtime. So that's one way of managing all pipelines in terms of coding. Predictive build or test orchestration, there are multiple tests that any code or software will go through, or even infrastructure as a code will go through. It'll include your system integration testing, it'll include quality testing, any kind of test for code errors, for code smells, etc. All of these tests can be managed through AI because all of these tests are relevant for that software, for that code, and are tested as per its required checklists and patterns. Doesn't skip anything. If there is a test which has become redundant, it learns on itself and improves the testing quality. So if in the last code, the testing was done on 100 parameters, it will figure out in the next code testing if all 100 are still valid and if all 100 are required. If not, it will reduce the parameters on its own. It will add some more parameters on its own, and it makes the tests more relevant, cohesive, uh, more appropriate for the code that is being tested. So overall, the testing pipelines are improved. The testing quality is improved. There is no human manual intervention at all in terms of improving the checklists required for the codes. So all your testing parameters will also be automatically improved with time. So 3 months, 4 months down the line, the entire testing cycle keeps on reducing by a certain number of minutes and hours with every run. So it becomes more optimized, extremely productive, efficient, effective, all of that. It also manages to give you patterns of incident detection and root cause analysis. So any codes, programs that have failed earlier or have created issues even post-release or post-deployment, it picks up all the analysis through predictive tools or through predictive information. It will gather and give you that information in one snapshot. You can see alerts that have been generated in the past and all your related charts and figures and numbers with it. It gives you root cause, all kinds of root cause, not just corrective actions, but also things that probably can go wrong in the future, may not have happened earlier, but it tells you everything that probably may go against that code and the code may fail or the software may fail. And all of this does not happen reactively. All of this is proactive. AI is supposed to be predictive, and it uses all of its utilities for managing DevOps accordingly. So you move from reactive firefighting state to prevention. Other thing that it does is intelligent roadblocks or rollbacks and development or deployment risk scoring. If you, along with DevOps, are using DevSecOps, which means you have security policies to be checked as well, or you have security or compliance also being used as part of your coding, it will check for all kinds of risk assessment parameters for all codes, vulnerabilities, threats, any kind of loopholes, data leak points, any space where it is not following the prescribed security policy of the code, of infra, of software, of programming, of product, all of that gets highlighted. Again, this is predictive. Any security lapses that may have happened in the previous testing, previous codes, AI will learn from it and implement and apply all those security checks for future codes. So it is never a standalone way of working. It's end-to-end way of managing things. It will also trigger an auto rollback. So if there are security threats, if there are vulnerabilities, if there are failure patterns identified, it will immediately stop any further testing or deployment, and it will roll it back to its previous good state. And the entire code will go back to working on it in terms of fixing those vulnerabilities. So it's very safe in terms of deployment. It's very safe in terms of its management. The next thing that we must try and figure out and understand is how AI-enabled DevOps pipelines help in better security management. Some of it is already discussed, but let's look at it from a specific security perspective. So AI will work with DevSecOps in terms of testing continuously, doing predictive testing of vulnerabilities. It doesn't wait at the end of the release to scan everything and then give a complete set of issues. It keeps scanning for vulnerabilities throughout. So as and when a threat is detected, it will be caught immediately and fixed immediately. It's a very real-time way of working. Of course, when we say real-time, it uses its machine learning capabilities to understand risks, to understand vulnerabilities that are new in the market. Um, some of it needs to be trained. However, it finds its attack paths, it finds its false positives, or it finds its vulnerabilities faster in terms of learning and in terms of upgrading itself on all security parameters. It will also look at the organization level security policies that have to be embedded or used or implemented alongside all the codes that are getting released. So any area where there is a loophole, there is a violation, there is an expected threat, it will continue to fix it as it goes if fixing is possible. If not, it will immediately block it and not let it release further. So any AI model will work on introducing all kinds of threat analysis from the first line of the code, and it goes along with its continuous testing. Some of the areas where this may not work or AI may have its limitations, specifically in the area of DevSecOps, is that certain patterns are so well learned and they become so ingrained that it develops a bias. So it will work as per historical information. Sometimes it forgets to learn quickly or learn intelligently. So it has to be continuously governed. Also, AI ethics have to be followed in terms of auditing, in terms of governance, in terms of checking how quickly it's learning or not. So specifically in the DevSecOps area, AI governance from its ethics and principles perspective is needed for it to function very well. So treat all kinds of AI models as production code and keep a very close eye on it in terms of its own development, its own machine learning capabilities, and ensure that it is working towards safety at all times. If not, then the AI tools or AI products and platforms that are being used have to be also improved with time. So that's the only thing that one has to be cautious of. Example of how DevOps works with AI. This is a specific case study or example of how ServiceNow uses AI capabilities or has AI capabilities. So if you look, at the diagram from the left to the right, there is a code commit that is happening from the development team or the coding team or the programming team. The code could be pushed for testing through any platform. Examples given here are GitHub and Azure DevOps. GitHub is typically for software development and software codes, whereas your Azure DevOps is for infrastructure as a code. It could be any tool. Now, when we talk of these tools, the code push happens for deployment or for release in production environment. But before that happens, if ServiceNow can be integrated with all these other DevOps platforms and tools, ServiceNow will use its AI capabilities and features, and it does a very smart analysis of the code in terms of its risk, in terms of vulnerabilities, in terms of errors. If it's vulnerable for an incident to occur, whether that incident is going to have downtimes, or is it a security incident that is, expected. So ServiceNow will work uh, with the AI codes or AI reviewed codes and give you a pattern or give you insight in terms of data, in terms of charts and alerts, very clearly giving you a go ahead whether this code is safe to be implemented or safe to be released or not. If it is safe, it will go ahead. If it is not safe, it will also give you alerts in terms of which area needs fixing, whether it's the DevSecOps area, which is security and compliance, that needs fixing in terms of its vulnerability scanning results, or is it a coding problem itself, which means this the testing may not have happened correctly. In spite of the testing happened correctly, there are certain things which could lead to an incident and then unavailability of that software, so on and so forth. And ServiceNow will keep learning. So it keeps learning from all these tests that it runs itself. It will give you alerts accordingly. It will also tell you about security and compliance parameters. So what it tested last time will get improved for the next testing. So this is just a sample for GitHub and Azure DevOps and ServiceNow. Uh, there are many such tools available in the market, and most of these tools have become intelligent in terms of its AI capabilities, and they keep maturing with each passing day. So there are many such examples freely available for study and for learning in the market, and you can, just Google it up to learn more. How do we implement DevOps with AI? It cannot be a big bang approach. It is never recommended. Be agile, uh, go stepwise, phase wise, and manage it accordingly. So the first thing to do is understand your own DevOps environment and landscape and start with just the basic observability stack. So your monitoring, event management, and observability has to become your first starting point to start getting alerts, or at least to understand areas of failure and to help you to make intelligent, informed decisions towards security and operations both. After you've established observability uh, for your DevOps stack, the next thing to do is to have good tools for overall integration. Overall integration would be AI for observability, AI for ITSM, AI for discovery, AI for predictions, for regular new service product introductions, for security policies, all of those areas. Hire good people, get in people who are literate in DevOps and AI both. They should also have a background of security awareness or should have worked in the area of governance and risk control, or should understand risk landscape of their own organization and of the clients. Plus, there has to be an AI governance mindset. So any skill that is either in infrastructure coding or on infrastructure side or on software or product side will need multiple skills in their portfolio to be able to handle this space correctly. There also has to be a general awareness or basic understanding of how infrastructure works, specifically the cloud systems, plus how their own domain knowledge or subject matter expertise works along with the new landscape. Modern IT requires multiple skills. It doesn't work only on one area. Some of the common pitfalls or limitations or roadblocks that one has to look for is avoid overcomplicating things, do not over automate, don't go with extremely expensive tools, products at the beginning, start slow, keep it simple. Um, the focus should always be on the quality of outputs, not just outputs, but overall outcome. So having a clear understanding of what works and doesn't work from your organization perspective is important. Just because the industry is, running fast at 100 miles per second doesn't mean we have to follow the same speed. So be very, very aware of your blind faith in anything and everything. So have very informed decisions made. Go for multiple proof of concepts, prototypes, demos. Uh, do over interviewing if required, but hire the correct people. Avoid anything which will have too many automations alone or too many manual interventions alone. There has to be a proper balance. Continuously keep validating, verifying all the platforms, products, tools that you're using, and have a very, very strong governance system around coding softwares, tools, everything. Some of the key takeaways from what we have been discussing so far is that DevOps is already in its next phase. It's not just about automation anymore. It is about intelligence as well. It is about working intelligently, using all the tools that we are investing in, being more proactive, having predictability in place, and becoming more and more available, continuous, as well as resilient. Second thing that it focuses on is AI will always enable smarter pipelines. There's no guesswork. It works purely on the basis of data, information, historical facts, focuses on prevention of failures. So the idea is, of course, to have strong, time-bound and effective productions, but that production should be with practically zero failures if possible. Another thing that is a key takeaway is security and speed. They are no longer mutually exclusive. They go hand in hand. So the faster you go, the more secure you have to be. So DevOps alone is not going to help. Have DevOps convert to DevSecOps as well. Start with observability, have feedback loops created. What is a feedback loop? Anything that you are developing, any tool that you're getting in, any kind of AI that you're introducing in your system, start with a minimum viable product. Gather feedback whether it's working well for your specific outcome, software, infra or not. Improve it as you go. So don't have that blind faith that I've purchased the tool and it'll always function perfectly well. It may still have its own learning and improvement cycles. Last but not the least, it requires a cultural mindset change. It needs focus on automation. It needs quick adoption. Also, it is supposed to scale very responsibly. So always have scalability, which you can digest and manage. Overindulgence in terms of money, effort, risk is going to introduce failures. Bring in external consultants if you need to initially to manage your DevOps, DevSecOps with AI landscape, and build your internal intelligence in terms of skills and people, and then be on your own. But having a good governance is essential and key for having DevOps work with AI very well. What you're seeing now on the screen is typically some of the certification or learning paths. So if you want to develop your skills in terms of AI and DevOps, there are a couple of paths mentioned here. There could be more. So you can always get in touch with all the wonderful people in Knowlathon, and you can get inputs from them on what are the right courses for you. But we've tried to put something together in terms of paths. So path one talks about becoming a DevOps engineer, wherein you have to study. Step one is core DevOps, then study observability and reliability, which is your SRE in monitoring and event management and observability. And third is learn AI and DevOps. So some of the courses you can do is ITIL, Azure DevOps, SRE, so on and so forth. Also DevOps as a course. Path 2 is DevSecOps Engineer. Again, some of the certifications that you can do is ITIL, then becoming a certified DevOps professional and developing your cloud certifications in terms of specifically in terms of security, and try and become a multi-cloud manager, because we no longer work on a single skill as such. Path 3 is if you want to become a site reliability engineer or leader, then you of course have to do your service management certifications, do your tool certifications, and definitely do governance. It is your ISO frameworks, COBIT, specific higher modules in ITIL, so on and so forth. So these are some of the learning paths. These could be modified as per individual career roadmap, or a group career roadmap, and we can plan as far as the next 2-3 years in terms of how you want to grow. But specializing in this area doesn't come without extensive learning. So apart from the learning parts, we've also given you a list of tools that are available in the market. Many of you all may already know about it, but it's a good list to keep handy and to understand which ones are of use for your organization, and also what kind of tools you want to purchase in terms of your own budget and your own requirements. The list of tools will always be available on the internet freely, but the learning paths will have to be discussed with our Knowlathon folks to understand your career roadmap. Any questions from anyone?
So if there are any questions, you can ask in the chat box. So that brings us to the end of the session. If there is one thing to take away today, it's this. AI in DevOps isn't about replacing teams. It's about supporting better decisions, earlier and faster. Before we warm up, one last interaction. In the chat, type one thing you would like to explore or test after today's session. Also, if you would like to dive deeper into DevOps, AI, or related certification paths, there is a link in the chat to our website. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being available on a Friday night when it's supposed to be your personal time off. Thanks for attending. Have a fantastic learning journey ahead. Bye-bye.